Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Welcome to the 13th of October episode of the Beer Blades and Bushcraft livestream. Tonight, what we're talking about is winter prep. Excuse me, how the turn of the seasons affects the way you may change your loadout for your bushcraft bag, or I guess if you're an avid paddler, then that'll definitely change uh, what you pack and what you don't pack for your bush time from here on out. If you're a homesteader, you've got a whole lot of things going on. We just have a small garden in the back, and there, there was a lot of action involved this week with shutting that down and harvesting the last of the tomatoes and stuff. So I just want to see who's with us. We're starting off with a good crew. We got Tenenbaum, of course. Always nice to see you. Always got something interesting to say. Simon, salut, comment va? There's me. Dennis from Canoe Hound is with us. That's nice to see. I love it when he's on board. Grace, how's it going? So yeah, so that's what we're talking about tonight. We're going to talk about how the change of the seasons changes your bushcraft bag, your camping apparatus. I mean, for some people, they don't go in the winter. Fall means that they retire until spring. That's legit. I used to be like that, and I have a much harder time getting into the woods in the winter than I even do in the summer when we're not COVIDed up. But I do get out for like a hike or a snowshoe as often as I can. It's definitely that's definitely a difference from in previous years. Oh, I mean, like 10 years ago. But at the end of the day, even my day bag, or excuse me, if I was to go on an overnighter, what I would pack along would be very different than it would have been in July, August. Less bug spray, for instance. So what I would like to do is it's going to be open all night tonight. Okay. I'm opening it up right away. And for anyone who wants to get on and tell me about how they prep for the winter, for the change of seasons, come on, talk about your process, or if you have equipment, tell me about stuff that you used to do but you figured out doesn't really work, stuff like that. For me, a lot of my late fall, kind of October, November camping was actually in recent years was actually in a ramshackle little cabin built out of one of those old camper trailers, like those, roulotte, we call them in French. Little door on the side, tiny kitchenette. The dining table, I think, folds away or goes down onto the benches to form a bed, that kind of thing, with like a clapboard, windy, not windy, but leaky, like room sort of built onto it with a wood stove in there because it was our hunt camp. And so for me, this time of year, I still get sort of that little twist of excitement in my gut because I loved sitting out there, being surrounded by like the creak of naked branches. Sorry, guys. And then I would go back in, and at bedtime, man, crank that fire up, get under my sleeping bag, and finally get warm. And like I hear nothing, but maybe there's wolves or something. So to me, like this season, it's too bad I don't go hunting anymore, but this season is so much more exciting than it was when September just meant I had to go to high school. You know what I mean? And like last year and the year before, I at this point in the year, I would have been swapping my outdoor stuff around a little bit. This year, anyway, everything's on hold this year for so many people. But yeah, I love fall though. I love late fall. I love the part of fall the most where everything's like all the trees are aflame with orange, but before everything gets really gray. I love the way the air smells. I love it when there's that snap in the air that tells you winter's coming. That sort of brittle feeling. Yeah, Halloween time, essentially. favorite part of the year. It's exciting, and you can really feel the seasons turn in the two what I call the seasons that are in motion. Right, spring, everything is blooming. Fall, everything is hunkering down. Summer and winter are both beautiful for other reasons, but they're much more static to me. I don't mean that in terms of like nothing happens, because let's face it, in the natural world, summer is a very busy time. But what I mean is, like, the season is, it's there, it's taking its place. And in winter, same thing. The season is whereas in spring and fall, these are seasons that are still sort of, they're moving a little more. They're going from here to there. I know that I'm simplifying that completely, and my feelings about this are not necessarily scientifically legit, but there it is. I just realized I'm totally ignoring the side chat here. So let me just scroll back up. Okay, everyone's just saying hi to each other. We got a great group here with us here tonight. Hey, Mark. Mark Putmans is here. Hello. Fox, Hayes, how's it going? Hayes, how's it going? What? Hayes, hey, what's up? I do, by the way, want to say that if you are checking in with us, time shifted to tomorrow or next week or something, I appreciate you watching as well, and you're free to leave comments down in the chat section below. I treasure everyone who hangs out with me either live or after the fact. I also want to say that I'm within 50 hours of being monetized again, which I find gratifying, and that really is. That's only partly due to the quality of my work. It's actually way more, that kind of stuff way more comes down to the viewers spending time with my videos, but either the lives or the videos themselves. And so thanks for getting me as far as you have. With any luck, maybe this year I'll get over the edge. Grace, in fact, there's Dennis saying exactly that. Thanks, mister. If you guys are enjoying this live stream, then I invite you to throw a thumbs up down on the doobly-doo below the video screen. I think that while we're talking, while we're chit-chatting, I'm going to oil. Most of you know that I make spoons, and I have a kitchen load of wooden spoons, all of which are in dire need of new oil. So I'm going to do that while we're talking, okay? Oh, I don't use this very often. There we go. I use tongue oil on my spoons because it cures, but it's not like a nut oil or something that might cause allergies or whatever's. So who else is hanging with us? I said hi to Grace already. I said hi to Foxit. Hey, Robin's here. How's it going? Robin says, Robin Lemon, ladies and gentlemen, try the salmon. I hear it's terrific. Whoops. I just totally lost track of where everyone is. Did I say something, Foxit? Did I say a teardrop? For some bizarre reason? See, I'm not, nothing that I do is scripted, so I may have said something redonkulous and I wouldn't even recognize it. Oh, teardrop, you mean like those really sleek campers? No, it's just a plain one. Dude, what? Okay, there he is. There he is. I'm just trying to catch up with the side chat there. Oh, Grace, you've been playing my whole playlist. Thanks. Old North Southpaw, welcome back. How's it going? Been a while, eh? For some bizarre reason. There we go. Mark says, I like those autumn trips where it freezes overnight and in the morning there is half-inch of ice on the ponds with gorgeous sunlit fog over. Yeah, man. I love that too. I love the way that feels, waking up in the morning. And also, I find that the smell of a campfire or whatever in cold air is so comforting. Hold on. Jonathan Millie's with us. You used mineral oil. I use mineral oil on. Hold on a second. Dennis, it's tongue oil, not tongue oil. Huile de raisin. Hey, I got beer here tonight. Who else has a beer? You know, Simon's not saying anything. I don't know how to deal with this. He's usually like so.
I'm there. I'm just trying to fight myself with my freaking computer tonight.
Okay. So what I'm having, I think I've had this on the live stream before. It's Brago au miel by Brasseur Lanaudière. So it's a honey for land's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a honey. Did we ever just discover what a Brago is, Simon?
I used to knew it.
I have no
mainly
idea.
because this small brewery is close to my mother's house.
Is it?
Yep.
Mark knows all of the best moments in the woods, eh? Mark and Dennis are having a good time in the side chat. Oh, okay, Dennis. I wasn't sure because sometimes I like hold something up and put it down, and I think everyone's had time to read it, and everyone's like, "Dude."
Oh, and Tenenbaum just gave us the answer. Bragot is a form of mead made with both honey and barley malt.
Oh.
Typically use a third or more malt.
Jonathan Millie's with us. He used mineral oil. Hey, okay. You've got sound on your computer. I can hear myself. I don't want to hear myself. For God's sakes, I never really want to hear myself. All right. So it definitely has a meaty look to it.
I think I was able to stop it finally.
Tenenbaum also says that apparently tongue oil is still a nut oil, just not from a nut that is normally eaten. So I wonder if I'm wrong in saying that it's going to be like hypoallergenic.
Not sure if I'm going to get that far off.
Dennis is telling me to shut up. So, yeah. I just want to reiterate for those of you who are just joining us, I'm going to put the link down below. The subject for tonight's conversation is how does the shift into the winter months change what are you doing to prepare for the winter months of paddling or camping or bushcraft? Or are you the type who's just like, no, man, winter, I'm staying home? I've put the invite down there again. Anyone can come on, so long as you stay on topic, then we're going to have a fantabulous time. And, you know, I sort of started saying earlier that I don't really know what I'm going to do different this, you know, to prep for this winter. I haven't done any prep for winter because I don't know if it's in the cards. Like, I don't know if getting out into the woods or anything other than like a quick day hike is even in the cards this year. I have no idea what's coming.
To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not prepping for anything.
Yeah, I haven't done anything. It's too depressing for me to prepare for something that likely won't happen. So I figure, you know what? If I get an opportunity, I'll just throw something together at that point.
That's probably going to be a day hike at the end.
Yeah, I don't foresee anything more than day hikes either.
Yep. And based on what's going on, I don't foresee getting out of my city even.
No, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. It's like, you know, they're putting one of my buddies at work said they're putting up checkpoint Charlies all over on all the highways.
No. Forget about it. on the suburbs of Montreal, we resolved to fix it to fix the problem. So we're
Yeah.
gonna blow the bridges.
Yeah.
We don't
Laval.
need anything else anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah. Just want to say, Brandon Cosman, if I can do this without getting tongue oil all over my mouse, says, not prepping yet, just trying to get a couple more camps in before the snow arrives. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Legit. Even
Unfortunately, they're gonna put some checkpoints all over the place around here.
yeah. Hold on a second.
Actually, I'm actually surprised that these checkpoints were not kept on as they were last spring.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'm a bit.
Well, you know,
I
the
can
world
say
was opening up again. Tenenbaum says, well, if I paddle once the water starts getting really cold, there's a wetsuit and neoprene gloves involved. Legit. Just in case. Am I right?
yeah, jeez.
Yeah. Oh,
And
Brandon
really,
says,
and really depending on what kind of weather, because even in a wetsuit, I would not go for paddling.
yeah. Brandon, are you looking at a specific hot tent, or are you just thinking might get something this year? Because I would love, before March, I had this wild, crazy plan to maybe get a hot tent this year as well, and a stove. It's a lot of money to throw at something, though. You know, like if you're not sure that you're going to get at least a few trips in, then
there's a few good options from manufacturers in Canada.
yeah, I was thinking of getting
I'll see
probably
if I can.
whatever the one that they sell at Canadian Outdoor Equipment Company sells. What is that? An Esker?
Mm,
Hey, Dennis, do you have a hot tent?
good question.
Got to oil up these spoons.
No,
But yeah, so Brandon, if
I'd
you're
say
looking at
Dennis
something
is not as
specific,
crazy as
okay, hold on a second here. Boom, Dennis.
Hey, how you doing?
My hands are full of tongue oil, and I think I've just wrecked my mouse. Damn it!
And no, I don't have a hot tent. I do not.
Now, is that something that you would be interested in acquiring?
Most certainly, yeah. Problem is the amount of money that they cost, and I got my change jar building up on that right now. So
Oh, so you are in fact saving up towards one.
yeah, eventually, unless I can find a good deal on a used one that's in good shape. But I do have one at my disposal. I got a good friend of mine that's got I think it's an 8 foot by 12 foot old void or prospector type of canvas tent. It's the one I used last winter there, and it's quite nice, but it's heavy as the dickens, man. She weighs a lot.
They really are. There's a real magic to that old style, though, eh? That old prospector style.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta love the charm of that thing.
Yeah, you got a bunch of different ways you can set it up. You know, you can do crossing timbers at the front, and or you can string it up. There's a lot of different ways to set it up. So
So if you were to buy one, would you get something like that then?
I don't know if I want something that big. I think maybe a 4-man. You mentioned the Eskers might be a nice option, right?
Yeah.
Wind Trekkers are also nice, but I think they're American, so they're significantly more expensive down here.
Yeah, I just dropped a link to Norseman.
Norseman, okay. Yeah, I see it there.
Which is a Canadian company.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, of course, I'll have to research the heck out of everything before I do anything like that, right? But
yep. Oh, yeah, like, man, I don't buy anything without spending months looking into it, because for stuff like this, that would be an expensive mistake.
Yeah.
Even when my channel gets remonetized, I'm a long way from being able to just absorb something like that just because I've got a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say that, Old Southpaw says, I live in the hot, humid southern U.S. Winter's my favorite time to be outdoors. No spider webs, no bugs, no snakes, not to mention fewer people. Fewer people? Man, you had me at fewer people.
Mm-hmm. Depends where you go, though, right?
Yeah.
Depends where you go. Like a lot of people around here, like in my area, we all trek up to Algonquin Park, right? New Lake, and
Yeah.
they're open year round. And a lot of the winter campers, but you can almost call that winter glamping, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in essence.
Well, I sort of in my context, glamping is, we're in those utopia that I've done a couple of videos. We know whenever I go camping with the whole family, or there's a
Yep.
flush toilet within spitting distance because we're at a campsite kind of thing.
Yep.
I think anytime you're sort of out in the back 40 or whatever, the real woods, that's a good time. But it's funny because my first camping experience when I was a kid, we used one of those foldable trailers, the ones that go.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
The
What do they got? Pop-ups? Pop-ups?
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, the pop tent or pop-up trailers.
Yeah, those.
Pop-up
Yeah,
trailers,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Brandon says he's looking at the Lux Megahorn. Simo, do you know anything about that?
Actually, I'm putting the URL right now.
See, Dennis, man, you need a mod like Simo. Anytime someone mentions anything, Simo's already like getting the URL ready within like 30 seconds.
He's the research king, yeah.
Yeah. Even when I used to do a couple of live streams with him here, he brought his laptop and did the exact same thing, and he would keep an eye on the side chat. And if I got sort of distracted by blah 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 blah, he'd say, "Oh, by the way, so and so is asking."
That's better.
So, yeah. I'm just trying to wipe my damn hands off because I'm destroying.
I have to admit that I've received the URL from Mark Goodman's right now.
Ah, okay. It's the. I also wanted to say hi to Kincaid Outdoors.
Only because we both have a backdoor communication channel, so
right.
That's kind of cool.
How's it going, Kincaid? Now this is probably a question for you, Dennis. Old North Southpaw is asking, how much does a hot tent and stove weigh? I mean, the stove must be like 20 pound right there, right?
Well, if we're talking about the one that I was using last year, that 8x12 Prospector,
yeah,
the tent itself probably weighed a good 45 to 55 pounds. The stove, which my buddy lent me as well, is a little more heavy duty, and it probably weighed around 25-ish with the pipes, right?
Oh yeah, with the pipes, right? Of course.
Yeah. So, but you can get lighter ones. I think the Eskers there probably come in like maybe 10 pounds, somewhere around there. And then the stoves, depends on the stove you get. If you're going with a stainless steel or these new fandangled.
Yeah, you can get a really thin-walled stove nowadays, eh?
Yeah. And the size of it too, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't want it to sounds like a bummer, but having a stainless steel barbecue put me away from anything stainless steel related to stoves.
Is that right? Why is that? What happened?
Basically the chemical reaction with the heat will literally put your stove will put rust on your stove. As crazy as it is.
Yeah.
Unless you put the highest grade with every bells and whistle. And even
come on, man! You're talking to Jesse and Dennis. We are the highest grade,
but
so we don't go for less.
You're not gonna get 316 stainless steel, the heavy thick gauge to put in one of those tents for I don't know how many weekends a year.
Right.
That thing is gonna weigh 60, 75 pounds.
Yeah,
that's the problem, right? With the stainless. If you go with the stainless there, it stays pretty for a while. Blues up nice and stuff, but it's heavy as heck.
As far as I'm concerned,
steel's gonna rust like crazy, right?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I'd rather take a barrel and put a door in it.
Yeah. They're hard to find. You find those old tin 5-gallon pails. with the steel lids on them.
Yeah.
They're like,
Jeez. Yeah, you better burn it off before modifying it.
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's an oil barrel. There's no problem. That's flammable, right?
Well, it's yeah. They're putting a plastic compound inside to prevent corrosion or whatever's going on with the liquid that you're putting in.
Yeah.
And that thing is nasty
Yeah.
when you burn it out.
Okay, so Brandon says that this tent he's looking at it looks like it's sort of a starter tent, just to see if he likes the concept. So maybe I should be looking at something like that too.
I'm not against this your
This
thinking,
concept?
Brenda. Yeah, this concept.
Yeah.
You know, there's a bunch. Like even if you go on Amazon, say for instance, there's like one Tigris has all these lightweight nylon 4-season tents, right? That are they have the stove jack in them and everything else.
Mhm.
I really wonder how durable that they actually are. You know what I mean?
Well,
You're so worried about that thing melting once you get a good fire stoked.
my question is more: how durable will they be in northern U.S. or Canada?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a wild card, eh? Yeah.
Like
That
I
one is a
4-season
real
tent,
one.
but it's not. It's a nylon, like a Kelty, and it's a nylon tent. And you set the thing up, and you could almost stand on it. Right? It's that durable, but there's no way of setting up heat into it.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it's for sale.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a little too short for me, or like in length.
Oh yeah.
My feet
Okay.
with my extra long bag touch both ends of the
Oh yeah.
tent, and it's a little too uncomfortable for me. So.
But Dennis, you're like a lot taller than me, right?
I'm 6'1.5". So
Yeah.
And then with a tall bag, the tall bag adds another 8 or 10 inches in length, right? So
Because like I'm 5'7", so I wouldn't really have that problem probably.
Probably not. No. It's more the bag than it is myself, right? The sleeping bag. So
yeah, I want to point out that Tenenbaum said that the nut, the tongue nut, is apparently extremely poisonous, but the primary toxic agent that is present in the nut, because apparently you can die from eating one nut, is not present in the oil. So I can continue putting tongue oil on my spoons. I also want to say hi to Zach Fudge. Welcome, mister. Nice to see you.
Don't forget to put some in your beer.
Tongue oil?
Yeah.
Gross. Gross.
Is beeswax not a good thing to finish off a wooden spoon with?
I think it probably is.
I wouldn't.
You can buy beeswax based finishes. I just figured that because tongue oil, like, it cures and creates a bit of a slightly hard surface.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've been using tongue oil for spoons for so long that it hasn't even occurred to me that maybe I should be looking for better solutions. And the thing is, if I've settled on a solution, then there's guaranteed to be a better solution out there. But I've been using this stuff for so long that it didn't even occur to me it never even occurs to me to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think even like Lee Valley has a beeswax based salad bowl / wooden spoon surfacing agent, whatever. But further to what you guys said, first of all, about the spoons, about the stoves, Mark said titanium would be a good solution, but the stoves would cost a mint. And then Kincaid says, what about using high temp paint for the tent stoves? Like maybe like that barbecue paint or something.
Yeah, wouldn't be that bad probably.
I don't know.
But that's the kind of thing that you want to. You just don't paint something and go out and use it. You will
Why
probably
not? It'll work
burn
fine
it for a couple hours.
Yeah.
That's funny because Mark is feeding me with URLs right now for the exact same thing I was looking for.
So throw them up. let's take a look.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
That's what I'm
I'll
doing.
throw out the invite again for anyone who wants to join up. I just got a message from Mallory. She won't be joining us tonight because she's got a deadline on a video that she's editing, and that's okay. That's okay. She says she'll run the video in the background, so she won't be commenting, but she will be listening. So we'll still feel the presence of Mallory.
Yep. And she's closer to us than Dennis is, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kincaid says that the paint he uses, you have to cure it before you can use it properly. Which, I mean, that kind of thing doesn't really bother me, because if I'm spraying a stove, I'm doing it in prep for the season rather than in prep for tomorrow. You know.
Bring in the Zach's comment.
Which one?
Last
I'm looking
one.
for it. Yeah, I'm not worried about toxicity, Zach. I'm worried about, like, because I used to sell spoons, and what I wasn't sure of was whether or not there's an allergen there for people who are allergic to walnuts or tree nuts, which is why I didn't opt for walnut, because I remember looking at walnut, mineral oil, and tung oil, and I didn't go for mineral oil because it doesn't cure. And I didn't go for walnut because I was afraid of somebody using my spoon, going into anaphylactic shock, and me spending the rest of my life feeling terrible. You know?
Death by spoon.
Death by spoon. Oh. Jesse strikes again.
And naturally, Mark is commenting that we can experiment on Simon. Yep.
This is getting weird. But yeah, so Malo à la ferme est avec nous ce soir. That, for those of you who don't know, is Mallory.
Yeah.
So she won't be commenting because she's busily editing a video that has to get up soon.
Hi, Mal, and thanks, by the way.
So good.
Just shared you out on Facebook there, Jess.
All right. Thanks, mister.
I don't remember.
Hey, Wood Pigeon's with us. How's it going, mister?
Hey, Wood Pigeon. How you doing, bud?
That guy, man, he's always making stuff, and it's always
Cool.
You guys know me, that I love these sort of ancient skills, and this guy's always making something that's like historical. I love it.
Colin, you're safe. I'm the first target. That's it.
Kincaid says wouldn't be able to use one of my spoons because of the tung oil. Do you have an allergic to nuts?
He is, yeah.
But see, that's what I can't figure out is
target anyway.
Does tung oil? I don't even know how to ask the question. But we're not here to talk about my spoons. We're here to talk about prepping for winter. So,
what's the difference? You're going to need spoons to heat the stove anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny. I thought you said you're going to need spoons to eat the stove, and I'm like, okay. And I remembered, wait, I'm talking to a French Canadian. He means heat the stove. To which I say, well, fuck you very much. Oh, damn it! I was almost monetized. I was so close to being monetized, and then I ruined it. Okay, so I won't try to kill you, Mr. Kincaid.
He's cunning.
Suddenly this became all about killing people with spoons, and I don't know how the heck that happened. I want to know about your winter plans, guys. Wood Pigeon is heading to Sandbanks.
Just to wrap up, one of my ex once told me the worst way to kill a man is to jeez. I'm trying to make it from French to English right now. Jeez, gonna make it. Forget about it.
Well, I'll just say that to all the ladies out there. What?
I need to find the exact translation now.
To all the
there's-
ladies out there, the way to a man's heart is through his rib cage. Outdoor Dauber's here. Oh, hey, man.
Hey, Albert.
Hold on. I'm totally. Oh God, I'm sorry, Kincaid. You want me to call you Colin, right? I did say that right. So hold on. Wood Pigeon is making acorn flour. Nice. I was just talking about acorn flour today because someone I know, they had a tree taken out, and the municipal bylaws here in Montreal are that they would prefer it if every property had 3 trees, 1 in the front and 2 in the back. So he had a red oak put in the back. And the nice thing about red oaks for him is that it takes a few years before they start dropping acorns all over you. I was like, hey, you can eat acorns. But here's the thing. You really got to work a bunch of acorns to make them edible. Like you got to rinse them out or boil them out. You got to remove a lot from acorns. And then you can grind them up for flour and stuff. But I do love the oak. It's one of my favorite trees.
Can you eat an acorn raw, or does it have to be processed?
You have to process. You have to process the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Ray Mears has done this. He crunched them all up, threw them into a special bag, and rinsed them for I think 3 days to get rid of the toxin, whatever it is. I think you can boil it off as well, but I'm not sure about that. But Dennis, you're probably all over this, and I know our buddy Pine Martin would be as well. If it takes too many calories to make the calories, then are you really coming out on top? If you're out in the bush? No, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that if I wanted to have like a hobby mill or something, I would totally be into. But if I'm not going to be hunting for acorns as a food source while I'm in the bush, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hold on, I'm just sort of trying to find. Colin and Simon went to the same place. Oh, of course, Tenenbaum, you would. Why a spoon, cousin? Because it's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more. Colin strikes again.
As one of my ex once told me years ago, the best way to kill a man is by cold castration with a baby spoon.
Cold castration with a baby spoon. Ouch.
Why would you? Moving right along.
It's gonna be painful.
I see that IRC Adventures is with us after a while. Nice to see you. And IRC says he purchased a 14 by 30 tent from Deluxe Tents of BC and have it permanently set up. Looks like a cabin on the inside. So you have a little piece of land to stick that up on, I guess. Outdoor Dauber says, don't forget to hit thumbs up, which makes me happy.
Speaking of small piece of land, I gained the right to a wonderful lot for camping next summer.
Wow.
Straight by the lake. Unfortunately, it is 50 by 50. It is very small.
But you know what? If it's big enough to pitch a tent, and if you can throw a canoe into the water, I still kind of call that a win.
In both cases, it is yes.
Oh, hold on. Black Dog coming in with the knowledge here. Pins and white oak, you can eat right away. Reds and burrs take a lot of soaking. Huh,
Interesting.
Okay. I didn't know that. There you go, Dennis. I'm not as smart as I thought I was.
Which ones are the red and the white? The red ones are the long acorns, are they not? The short ones are the white.
Maybe.
I'm going to try to find this out.
You have to look that up. I'm trying to learn a lot more about wild edibles. And that's a good one.
Yeah, me too. Poor Hike with Mike walked in right at the castration part of the conversation. No, Hike, what we're supposed to be talking about tonight is what people are doing to prepare for the cold weather for their hiking or camping or paddling if they paddle or, whatevs. But we just keep getting pulled in terrible, terrible directions. You know. Now, here's an interesting question that Colin's asking: how much does a decent 10 by 12 tent cost? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say about 12 to 1600 Canadian.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Like that's just the tent, right? That's not including. I have seen places selling kits that include the stove before, but I don't know if that's really usual or not. I'm dying for one of these guys. This, that would change my winters massively. Well, that and having a place to pitch it,
Okay. There we go. Dauber put information on there about the acorns.
Yeah, and I just put the Wikipedia page on it, and there's a picture that shows some of the acorn types.
Oh, look what IRC's got on a lake 16 kilometers up in the country away from people. Hells yes. I wonder how much of my anxiety is due to the fact that I live surrounded by people.
Hey, Miles, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I know what the difference between what the trees look like, right? Like red oaks are a lot more like this. But like I wouldn't know just by looking at the acorns. Although apparently down, if I could ever catch up with the side chat, I would know. Oh man, hike with Mike hits us with the Florida. I'm preparing for the cold weather in Florida with a light windbreaker. Well, okay then. If I prepared for the winter in Quebec with a light windbreaker, I would be dead by mid-December.
The only thing I'd say that I'm really planning for this winter is basically to have a lot of snow.
You're planning the snowfall?
Yes, because it's another El Nino year.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna get hit with a whole lot of snow. Okay.
Yep. We were supposed to change the way that our cars are parked in my behind the house, and I told my wife, "There's no way I'm gonna change this.
Okay.
I'm gonna need some room to put the snow somewhere."
I just piled it up against the fence in the backyard. I just want to.
Very good way to scrap it.
Red oak acorns are fairly small. White oak are much larger. Oh, and bur oak have a fringe along the edge of the cap. Yeah, I recognize that. Alain Patron says, getting a new hot tent and stove. We were just talking about that. Because I think that maybe all three of us would love to be getting a new hot tent and stove this year. Do you have a place to put it, Alain? Or do you, by the way, welcome to the live stream. Do you have a place to put it or do you go? What I mean is, do you own a little chunk of land or do you have access to a chunk of land somewhere to put it up? Man, I'm so far behind. Sorry, guys. Mark, you got to get out there, man. You got to get moving. Got to be moving. I see Simo also put a link to the Wikipedia about acorns in the in the side chat. So anyone who wants to go the Anorak route to take a look. Colin has a 12-foot round medieval-style pavilion. Is this
very good?
Is that something that you build, or is it kind of like a yurt? Need to replace a panel so you can add a wood stove hole. So maybe it's something made of wood? Kincaid, is this something that there's a URL to, or is it something that you built yourself? I called him Kincaid. Sorry, Colin. I'm slowly catching up. Tabernouche. No, I'm not. So nifty paddlers, yapping with Dennis. Wood Pigeon says he went to his wife's friend's house to show him how to hunt grouse. As I'm explaining to him where the grouse is, I'm asking him where. The cat jumps out of nowhere and catches the grouse I was pointing to. Okay, so Colin, they're doing the propane thing. Oh, interesting. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to jump down. Here, look what Outdoor says. 300 calories, 41 grams of carbs, and almost 30 grams of fats per 100 grams of acorns. So there's a lot more to them than I thought. Like, I still wouldn't want to try to make acorn flour or whatever out in the bush. But that means that maybe I could pack some along for, doing the Ray Mears thing and baking bread in the forest, kind of, maybe with some acorn flour. I don't know. What do you guys think? I wonder what it tastes like.
Acorns.
But I don't even know what acorns taste like. I just think that everything like that probably tastes nutty. That doesn't mean that I know what the hell I'm talking about. I never know what I'm talking about. So what the hell?
What are you drinking tonight there, Jess? I know you said earlier, but I forget.
It is a Brago au miel, which is apparently sort of halfway between a beer and what the hell is citronelle en anglais? Mead.
Okay. Interesting.
Which is why it's got a great big beehive on the back of the can. It's a microbrew.
And how is it?
It's not bad. It's a little watery because we've had Jesus, what the hell did I say hydromel was? We've had mead in the house before. We've had it fairly often. And it doesn't have the thickness of the mead, but it doesn't have sort of a beery punch to it either. So it's kind of boof, I don't know. Boof, that's kind of a French thing. I don't know what that would be. It's meh. It's okay. It's innocuous. So for what it costs,
you're not going to run out and buy it again, right?
No, because it's not like Labatt 50 price. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
It's not the chorus pricing. Okay, I'm just going to jump down a bit because so Alain, he lives in Sudbury, so it's on Crown land. He's going to be putting it. Nice. Zach says, I'd hate a Newfoundland winter. It doesn't end until late April to early May. Well, so long as the screech keeps flowing, I think I'd be okay. Have any of you guys done sled hiking in the winter up there? I've seen some videos and that looked pretty cool. I think that if you're packing along a hot tent, then by definition, you're going to be sled hiking, right? Because how would you get that stuff around without a pulk?
Yeah. Well, snowshoes in a backpack, but you're going to sink and it's going to be slow going, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. In fact, there's been a mild resurgence, I've noticed, in people building very traditional style toboggans, like the cargo ones, which is essentially just a pulk, like an old school pulk. And they've got like sort of the flexibility built into them, so that if you're going over hills and stuff, it's sort of it flows over them. Whereas with a lot of pulks, they just sort of plow through, right? But I wonder what those would cost. Those cargo toboggans, like built in the traditional way.
Check Lure of the North. Lure of the North. They sell kits, and they're really reasonable, but you assemble them yourself, and they're really.
Lure of the North keeps popping up in my conversations because they're the ones who do the moccasin kits, right? Like Pine Martin made
moccasins and gloves. Yep.
Yeah, I think I've been to their website before.
That's Kylan, who was on the show last week, right?
Yeah, I was about to mention that.
That's her and her husband there. They run that business.
Yeah. Where are they?
Espanola, Ontario, which is north, way north.
Way north? Okay.
Yeah.
So whenever someone's like something of the north, I always wonder, are they north or are they north compared to the southern part of North America? Like, like the Toronto Raptors, we the north.
Yeah, yeah.
You the north of what? Right? That little Arrowhead part of Ontario is like, it's as south as you can get. So like whenever I hear the north, I always sort of try to picture where in the country they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Espanola, Ontario. So they're pretty far up there.
Jesse, you were talking about the Labatt 50 instead of that Brago, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what is the funniest thing with this?
What?
That brewery is actually in an old Labatt warehouse.
Really? That's hilarious.
I just double check, and yes, it is literally the old Labatt warehouse in Joliet.
Dennis, I'm gonna go take a look at Lure of the North later, and I'm gonna go and take a look at Brasserie La Nadière again later too.
Just drop the URL, by the way.
Okay, nice. Mark says pulling a pulk in winter works well so long as you have flat lakes, which most are, well frozen valley creeks, and almost no hills. And I think that maybe, Dennis, did you use a pulk or did you use a toboggan when you?
You know what I used? My kids had this little gray sled, and I rigged it up and I drilled holes and put lashing lines on it and stuff like that. And for what I was doing, I was basically pulling in a duffel bag, like an old hockey duffel bag full of all my gear. Okay. And it worked really good. But like you say, it's not made for that. You got to have the proper stuff, right? But I only did it one time, and I still use that sled now for ice fishing.
Okay, pulling all your stuff along.
All my ice fishing gear out to the lake to go, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Mark says a well-made pulk can be $350. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm dropping actually a couple link that Mark just sent me.
Okay. Oops. Oh no, I lost it. The Black Dog says, I have a World War II pulk. We used to pull the kids behind the four-wheeler or tractor up and down the icy road. That's probably the best way to find something like that. Get an old, army surplus or a secondhand. I have grown to adore the secondhand market for anything. For anything, in any case where it's possible to do that. Alan says a toboggan's the way to go when hauling a hot tent into the backcountry. I got mine from Lure of the North.
Yeah, I'm just on Lure of the North now, looking at their.
Yeah. It was easy to put together,
and they go from $195 to $250 Canadian.
But that's because it's a kit. Like if you were to buy one that was built, it would probably be more like $350. Yeah. My mom says hi to everyone. Hi there, Mom.
How are you doing?
I haven't seen you since last night.
What I was about to say is you can use whatever sled you want, but the best way to pull it out is actually to modify, to remove the rope and to put basically two pipes.
But yeah, two sticks.
Sticks, just straight up and use it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
A lot of guys use those ABS pipes, or like the pipes you use for electrical, the gray ones, the conduit.
Electrical, yeah. It's
gray conduit.
Yep. It is less brittle, especially with cold temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm just trying to catch up. Like the side chat is sort of going and going and going, which I'm happy to see because I love it when they just start yapping. It means that everyone gets along. Dale Bruce, hey, how's it going? What we're talking about tonight, Dale, is prepping for the cold winter. How that is changing your your day ruck or paddling equipment or what. I keep adding in the paddling because not everyone lives in the frozen north. And I often make the mistake of just assuming that everyone is going to be living in like 6 months of ice starting in 30 seconds, the way, Simo and I and likely Dennis will be.
That's basically what the planet will, for the first time, live through. Is everything will be cold and icy.
As cold as ice.
I'm setting up for another ice age.
Yeah.
Just say, yeah, it's like there's a whole bunch of discussion about Pulks going on down the side.
There's your mother asking you a question.
Yes, we got the delivery today. Thank you very much. I was going to call you tomorrow. We did. Today is technically Tuesday, but it's kind of a Monday because we had yesterday off. I guess everyone here did, because yesterday was Thanksgiving. Obviously, we couldn't really get together, so what we did was we made a meal. I transported portions to my mom and my sister-in-law, and then we FaceTimed the supper, which worked way better than I thought it would. And it's just, creative thinking in a city that's been COVIDed up the wazoo, right? So Colin is in Iowa farmland. Okay. Now Mark is asking the awkward questions.
Nothing else to say.
Tenenbaum is actually paying attention to the subject. Obvious change. The baseball cap goes in the drawer and the toque comes out. Yeah, and I'll be making the same change. I still have an old baseball cap that is isolated. Yeah, isolated, insulated from my hunting stuff, but you can't beat a good toque. The wood pigeon worked yesterday. I worked. I drove food around. Got up and changed diapers and stuff. That's work.
Yeah, okay. Doing on the highway.
Yeah.
I fixed a staircase in my house yesterday. So
it looks like Outdoor Dauber will be living the same life as us for the next little while. Wow, Dale, you moved from Louisiana to Missouri? Man, in winter that must be misery. See the stupid thing I just did there? God, I hate myself.
Wow.
But man, because Louisiana to Missouri, that's a big change in January. We have some. I have some in-laws who are in Florida, and all winter long, they're snapping pictures of themselves in flip-flops on the beach and sending them up north. It's like, yeah, you just keep doing that.
But because they won't do it in summer, so that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
heard it before. I'm just taking a look here. Okay, I think I've caught up. Holy crap, I think I've caught up, guys. Boom. Oh yeah, but Dennis,
yeah.
Back to the question at hand. So aside from are you planning to do a hot tent this winter?
I'll probably end up doing a bit of both. I'm looking right now to get a underquilt for my hammock so I can use that and not have to worry about a hot tent. Because hot tenting is a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a
really a lot of work.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to be out for at least a week to make that work.
Yeah, but even just harvesting enough wood for it, and making sure you're finding dry wood and keeping the fire stoked, and because you're not in the hot tent all day, right? So you're just getting the fire going, letting it burn out, getting the fire going. It is a lot of work. I'm really looking forward to actually trying the hammock tent and with the underquilt and doing it that way, because I'm active all day anyway, so that's my way of keeping warm.
Yeah.
But it's the evening that I want to be nice and comfy. But yes, I will be definitely getting out this winter, hopefully on a couple of occasions.
If you do end up getting an underquilt, that works well and didn't cost you an arm and a leg, let me know, because I also have a camping hammock, but I also don't have an underquilt or anything for it.
Right.
And I keep trying to research this, and I just keep getting confused because I have no familiarity with hammock camping. I've had this hammock for 5 years, and I've never been in it. So I never know what I'm actually trying to research. So if you come up with anything that looks like it might be a good solution, let me know, and I'll see if I can throw it into my.
There again, I've been researching the heck out of it, and I think that if you want something that's 4-season, you're going to be dropping $400 to $600.
$4 to $600, yeah.
You know what I mean, for a good down-filled one. You can even go on Amazon. There again, I hate saying the word Amazon, but you can go on there and you can buy the 3-season. I think there again they're by one Tigris maybe, and they're a 3-season, right? But
can you make that work if you put the underquilt and then under you in the hammock you put like a wool blanket?
That may work. That may work. I'm not sure. I can't do wool. I'm allergic to it, so I'm on the hook for the expensive underquilt.
Wow, allergic to wool, man. My wool blanket is like my secret weapon.
That kills me. I nothing more that I would like than to have, the wool blanket and the wool socks and the sweater and whatnot. Yeah. Merino wool underwear.
Yeah. And the nice thing about wool is that it maintains its thermal properties even when it's wet. I mean, it's just a miracle fabric. Well, now I'm back to late on the side chat, but yeah. So you were saying?
I was just going to say, when you talk about like what to do to get ready, what do I do to get ready for winter camping or any winter activity? Nothing. I've got all my gears downstairs in my gear corner, and it's just a matter of picking out one piece over another, right?
Okay, so you don't keep like a bag prepped and ready to go kind of thing.
No,
some people do. Okay.
Every bag packing is a custom bag packing, right? So.
Okay.
It makes a difference as to the trip I'm doing or the adventure I'm going on. What's it call for? Does it call for a titanium? Does it call for my billy pot? Do I want to try and tote in cast iron because I'm doing car camping? You know what I mean? It's all depends on the trip itself, right?
Yeah, I get it.
But the only thing I try to do for the winter though is try and grow this pathetic beard back in, right? So.
Yeah, I'm letting mine grow in for the first time ever. I mean, I've been just like a pinch for 25 years. What the hell do you call this in English? We call it a pinch.
Goatee.
Yeah.
Goatee.
For 25 years at least at this point. And but it's like I'm not going anywhere. So what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point? Like I shave here because it was driving me bonkers, but I was just I'm not going out my front door. So why am I?
Why? Because you can, right?
Hold on. Mark says that hot tending works great when you're a big group. We used to go 8 to 12 people and all had their chores. Fair enough. Hey, Tyler's here. How's it going, Mr. Tyler? So for everyone who is anyone, by which I mean everyone, I think I just dropped the invite again for anyone who wants to come on and tell us what they do as prep for the winter, the long winter chill. And by the way, if you do decide to hibernate every year instead of going to the cold, then that's fine too. I mean, it takes all types and blah blah blah. And well, there's someone who definitely doesn't take the winter off. How's it going, Mister Up North of 60 in the house? What we're talking about is what you probably, man, it must be even more important for you up north. We're talking about prepping for winter, changing your summer camping to winter camping stuff. Because for me, for instance, the first thing that changes is the sleeping bag, right? Like I have a summer bag. There sure as hell ain't coming out when the temperature goes south. But I don't have a bag that's good down to like -40. Do you have one of those, Dennis?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and that's expensive as hell, but
it's the warmest bag. It's actually mine is a synthetic bag.
Okay.
But it's rated for very cold, but the only problem is one of those mummy style bags,
Oh yeah.
and I have such a hard time sleeping confined.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
but to carry a full, like a straight line bag,
Mhm.
that's not a mummy style bag,
Yeah.
then you're sacrificing way more weight, right? For
Yeah.
that added comfort. So, you make do. Do you sleep uncomfortable and not being able to jack your knee out to to the left or to the right, while you're sleeping? Or
My problem is one of claustrophobia.
yeah,
Like I have a real hard time. Oh, like even thinking about it makes me kind of
you feel like you're in a coffin, right?
yeah. I have my cold weather bag is a starts with an M.
Marmot.
Yes. Thank you for being there for me. And it's sort of like it's one of those halfway between. So it's not a full on square bag, but it's not a coffin bag either.
Right.
I don't remember what that style is called. Hey there, mister.
Yo, what's up, all?
Hey, yo.
Man, I love
Hey.
that mic. Holy crap. Yeah. So are you doing winter prep right now?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's probably already cold up there, eh?
Yeah, it's about -3 today. Wind chill about -10 at the moment. So it's it's starting to get cold.
Yeah, I -3 and stuff I'm still good at. Like because I'm not really well prepped, well equipped for straight up winter camping, is once you get to like -20, I start to feel the holes in my equipment.
Right. Yeah, I start to feel the gap between my zippers
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it gets down below -20.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you going to be hitting the woods a lot this winter?
Yeah. So basically, what we're doing now is kind of what I just call like a cold weather acclimation. I guess it's where the seasons change so quick up here. You want to get out during that seasonal change, because if not, next thing I know, it'll be -20, -30, and that shock to the body is not very good, especially as you get a bit older.
Yeah.
So we'll start to go out more often and just go for walks, go for hikes, just break out the merino wool, start to add the base layers, winter boots, winter socks, and just kind of get the feet ready again, for wearing the heavier clothing. Our exercise routine usually changes, so we'll start to focus more on back squats, lunges, deadlifts, like a lot of body weight exercises, because again, with the amount of winter gear that we wear up here, it adds an additional 20 pounds, to the body.
Hadn't even thought of that aspect.
Yeah. So most of what we focus on is not so much bushcraft preparedness or bushcraft. It's more survival based, right? So everything that we do is based around survival in the event that if our snow machine breaks down in the middle of the lake, how are we going to get back to the shoreline?
Yep.
What do we have in our kit? What survival equipment will we have based off, the season that we're in? So
yeah,
a lot of it again just comes back to that acclimation, getting used to wearing gloves and having the dexterity in your hands to be able to light a fire, to use an axe. Chopping an axe with a pair of using an axe to chop wood with a pair of winter gloves, as opposed to bare skin, is a different feel, like a different tactile feel. So just, kind of fine tuning those little things in. Yeah,
I could definitely see that, because for me, I just want to say hi to Going Green Mom. Welcome to the live stream. For me, I'm one of these people who never uses an axe with gloves on, but I couldn't imagine trying to do that at -20 or 30. Just because I feel safer with nothing between me and the axe, but I wouldn't be able to feel it well enough to be either effective or safe, I don't think.
It's funny because they always have to have at least a pair of work gloves on to use an axe.
Really?
You feel more comfortable that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, it's funny, like, because temperature is so important to anyone who spends any time in the outdoors. I mean, you can get hypothermia in the summer in some cases. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's something you have to just bear in mind no matter what. Like, even if I'm heading out in the summer there's got to be at least a raincoat in my backpack just in case you get soaked.
Right.
And so like all these little dangers just become bigger when we start to hit October, November, December,
Mhm.
January. Oh my God, February, you know?
One of the biggest underrated things that's not really talked about is cardiovascular fitness. And that just comes down to how efficient your body is in pumping blood, to the distal aspect. And also the amount that you sweat and the amount, that you'll breathe heavily, right? So if your cardiovascular is in shape, your body's more efficient, your circulation is greatly improved, and you won't have to work as hard in the bush, which means you'll sweat less. And anybody knows that's into the outdoor bushcraft, it's the sweatiness to moisture management that's the most critical, portion of your system. And for me in particular, like I really focus a lot on, like, it's kind of like people would think it's kind of counterintuitive. Like most people get in shape for the summer, but I tend to get in shape for the winter because I need to have that physical capacity in the event of, like I say, like a breakdown or, whatever.
Oh God, yeah, breakdown. Oh, absolutely. And it's funny that you're saying this because I'm probably in the worst shape I've ever been in right now. Absolutely the worst shape I've ever been in. The number of pounds I've put on since last March. I jokingly say that I'm calling this my COVID 30, but it's terrible. And even like if I'm not up in the Yukon or something, even if I was going to that little chunk of land where my buddy Serge and I did a couple of videos in previous winters, sometimes we're snowshoeing through like thigh high snow. And in previous years, that's been kind of no problem. I mean, I'm like, but I don't know if I could do it now, hiking a kilometer or two into the back 40 with thigh high snow. I thank the gods for snowshoes and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know how much effort I could really put out right now. And that could be dire if I'm out there somewhere and I can't do it.
Right. 100%. And, like that's my fear of being out in the middle of the lake or on the way to my camp and have a breakdown or get stuck in a wade out where maybe I have to hike or even if my snow machine gets stuck, which, happens occasionally. I mean, I drive a big Scantic wide track that weighs 600 pounds. So to be able to lift the back end of that out of the snow takes a tremendous amount of muscle power to be able to even move that thing around. So, like that's where the deadlifts and the squatting really comes into play because again, like you say, like it's dire. If something happens out there, it's no joke. It's minus 40, minus 30. Yeah. And if I have to walk 15 kilometers to get back to a highway in that temperature, I mean, it could be catastrophic. And most of the areas where I'm at, I mean, there's no cell phone service. So I have to carry a sat phone. And even if I do get a hold of someone, it's going to take them maybe 2-3 hours to be able to get out to me anyway. So now I'm going to be stuck in minus 30 for 2 to 3 hours. And if I don't have a heat source, that's not a good situation either.
Yeah.
The Scandic is far from being the lightest snowmobile.
Right.
What Black Dog says is just burning calories like crazy in the summer and a little dampness and boom, hypothermia in the summer. Absolutely. Absolutely. My mom is looking at the, I guess the construction of underquilts. And she sort of got this idea of like a house full of goose feathers. It was like, maybe not. Steve, how's it going? Although I love listening, wouldn't even know how to drive a car in the snow and ice. I told you guys that story about slamming my car sideways into a snowbank while driving off to Sherbrooke a couple of winters ago, didn't I?
I remember the story, but I'm not sure if you told it on the live stream or elsewhere.
I will very quickly tell this because it's off topic, but Steve was like, doesn't know how to drive. My old car, which I finally recycled, those things that shoot the liquid, what are these things called on the windshield?
The wipers.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing that spritzes the liquid, that whole system wasn't working. We're driving off to I'm driving to another city where my wife is working for 6 months, and I've got Camille in the back seat. She's maybe 6 at this point, so she's in a car seat. And it's a sleet. It's late at night. There's sleet everywhere. I'm on this highway that's muddy as hell. So there's mud and wet, and like I turn on the wipers, and instead of cleaning everything, it just goes smear. And so I've got this spritzer bottle full of windshield fluid,
Washer.
and I'm just sort of like, I've got my hand out and it's freezing. I'm going, spritz, 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 turn on the wipers, and I get another like 3 kilometers. And at one point, and like I keep pulling off into driveways or gas stations to clean off the window. And man, I'm swearing in both official languages, and Camille is obviously picking up that there's something wrong happening here. And T intersection, I'm coming, and I've got to go. I got to hang a left. And so I come to the stop sign. I'm doing it by the book because I'm terrified. And I start coming out, and I see this Jeep just coming towards me. And I'm like, this guy is, and it's not even like a Wrangler. This is a boring Jeep. I think it was like a Liberty. And this guy's just coming on. And it's like, he's not stopping for his stop sign. So I gunned it. And of course, I'm on slush and ice. And so the car just sort of goes and just drifts. Well, I gunned it, so it didn't just drift sideways. It kind of shot sideways into the, in Quebec in the winter, and probably, up north. When they push the snow aside, you end up with these huge snowbanks, like 6-10 feet kind of thing. And so I slid and went, pow! The whole passenger side, boom, into this huge packed snow. I'm losing my language here, guys. Snowbank.
Snowbank.
And the ass jacket in the Jeep didn't even slow down. He just went on by. And so I'm sitting there with my, I'm white knuckled. The car is, not stuck, thank the gods, but it's sitting there, and the windshield wipers are smearing, and I'm just like, Chris, and it's like swearing at like I'm getting a horse. And Camille's like, sorry, Daddy. I'm like, Camille, this isn't you. You're doing nothing wrong. I'm just terrified. And I heard, me too, Daddy. And so I immediately zenned right out. Like everything just, right. I'm not alone in this car. And so I told her some stupid little joke that a 6-year-old would laugh at, and just pulled out, thanking the gods I wasn't actually stuck, pulled out, and it was still a very scary drive. But, but I was doing it. I was breathing. I was like, we're going to have to pull over again so I can clear off the windshield. Okay, kitty? She's like, yep. Okay, Daddy. And it took us forever to get to where my wife was working. But we arrived in one piece. And fortunately, by the time we were driving home in a day or two, we did it in the day, and the sun was out, and it wasn't snowing or anything. It was very dry, and we got home in one piece. And recycling that car made me feel so light and free. When they came and they pulled it out of my driveway, that it's one of those seminal moments for me. It's like, it's gone. But yeah, and that was with snow tires, by the way. You guys who live down south don't have to deal with snow tires, but
Speaking of snow tires, public announcement. It's not December 15 for snow tires in Quebec this year. It is
What
December 1st.
Ooh. Are you
That
okay,
was me. I apologize. Okay. Sorry about that.
I'm just taking note of that because I don't want to be late again this year.
So it's going to be December 1st, not December 15.
Okay.
This is a permanent change to our wonderful regulations.
Okay. I'm going to call. Actually, while we're at that, I just threw actually out there twice. Sorry, guys. How do you guys prep your vehicles? I mean, for me, it's just, throw some snow tires on, change the windshield wiper fluid. But, up north there, like, do you have to put studded tires or chains or something, I guess?
For the most part here in the territories, there's actually not a lot of snow. It's a lot of frozen ice.
Okay.
and I basically just use mud and snow tires. I have Toyo Open Countries on my Toyota Tundra, so they're like a big heavy duty off road tire that are good for mud and snow, and I air those down to about maybe 30, like 28 to 30 psi.
Yep.
And that's my tires that I use for most of the winter. I run those summer and winter. And then as for my truck, of course, I'm using full synthetic oil, synthetic front and rear differential fluid, full synthetic transmission fluid, full synthetic brake fluid. That's essentially it. My truck's kind of in winter mode all year round. It's just the season's so short. I just keep everything with
running
synthetic fluids all year round. And then my battery, I usually change that out about every 4 years to make sure that I got the cranking amps to start the truck when it's minus 40.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like, so are synthetics better in the winter than the summer then? Generally?
I think synthetic fluid, in my own opinion, is just a better, higher quality oil overall. It's just a longer lasting oil. You get greater intervals in between maintenance. Okay. And there's better detergents and scrubbing agents within the oil itself. So it's a little bit more expensive, but I tend to run it all year round anyways.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same.
You're doing the same? What are you, Dennis?
I do the same. I've got synthetic oils in my truck as well.
Yeah.
And it's just a lease truck. I don't even need to because it goes back every 3 years, but I still do anyways. I've always been a firm believer in synthetic oils at least.
Okay. It's good to know. And what's the snow tire situation in, because you're in Southern Ontario, right? You're down near Niagara-ish. I won't get any more.
They're recommended, but they're not mandatory like they are in Quebec.
Okay.
I think for a safety standpoint, good to have depending on the vehicle that you're driving. My wife's car, Nissan Sentra, I'm picking her up snow tires probably this week. For my truck, I've never really used it. But then again, I've had aggressive tires on it too. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how tires are a whole lot more expensive for the bigger wheels like we've got than for like a Nissan Sentra. Eh?
Yeah.
God. I blew a tire once. I made a video about it on my other channel, my dormant channel. I blew a tire on one of our infamous potholes in Montreal on a highway. And man, it was like $300 for a tire until I sort of, haggled, and then my wife haggled, and she's better at it than I was, and so I spent $260 on this tire. I was like, on the car that I recycled, which was a Camry, a '98 Camry, the tires never cost that much.
No
freaking way.
Just want to comment on Colin. I'm not Colin. I'm sorry. On Dale Bruce, are snow tires different than spike tires?
Yes. Yep.
They are, but even for winter tires, you got some rubber composition which are different and can be better for either snow or ice, even if they are not studded. So there's it depends where you live. I'll put it that way, and what kind of driving you're doing.
Yeah. Here's a question. Dave, you have block heaters and interior heaters up north? My remote doesn't work in the winter. It drives me outside to start a vehicle. My remote doesn't work in winter. She drives me outside to start her vehicle. Yeah, I think even here in Montreal, a block heater is a plus. It took me a minute to see what IRC was saying.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we have block heaters than battery blankets. Actually, I used to run a battery blanket, but I found that it will overheat your battery, so I stopped using the battery blankets. But yeah, block heater is critical. You need that when it's minus 30
Do you run your block heater all night long or all the time?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well,
like a lot of people will put their heater on a timer, but like the issue there is that if you wake up in the middle of the night and you have an emergency, and if you had to leave, you can't wait for your vehicle for 4 hours to warm up. So I just, for the extra $30 a month, whatever it costs me to have the reliability of my truck starting is worth it for me. In like
Yeah.
the electricity costs.
Right.
Just, I'm getting off topic. How much electricity is now in the Northwest Territories?
It's probably 3 to 4 times what you're paying for it. I'll have to look it up. I don't even know. It'll make me
Especially
sick
here in Quebec. Yeah.
if I look at it. Let me see.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
I was looking at the prices in Quebec this week because offline I was speaking with Mark Putmans, and only to realize that we're paying on average, combining all different tariffs that we got, we're at 7.7 cents per kilowatt hour.
So yeah, I just Googled it. It's a 90 cents here in the territories.
Wow. Hey, where'd Dennis go? Also, Kincaid says, I know this is way behind what's going on now, but anyone interested in my rope bed pattern? I think so. Colin, yeah?
Of course.
Now, how would we get that?
That's going to be a good. How do you want to share? Well, would it be a document, a picture? What would be, Colin?
By the way, guys, I'm also putting the invite back on for anyone who wants to come on and talk about what we're talking about, which is prepping for the winter, for your camping, your paddling, your stuffs, your hiking. You packing the snowshoes. For me, by the way, snowshoes played an integral role in me not hating winter anymore. Two things happened that made me not hate winter anymore. One was the snowshoes. My wife and I bought snowshoes, and totally changed my view of winter. And having kids will make you love winter. Dennis, what the heck happened to you?
Sorry, dude, my internet just went for a crap.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's been funky all day. Yeah.
Has it?
Colin, hold on. I'm gonna try to get an email address for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna do
so we're gonna get
some email info.
And then once you get that, can you share it out? Somebody's got their sound on.
That's me. Sorry.
Tennis.
I know, man. I'm having a bad. Good thing I didn't go live tonight.
You're just trying to sabotage my,
Never, dude. Never.
a competitor.
Never.
One thing that makes this the best week ever is that you're actually on my live stream.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it too.
This I wish we could have more often. But I'm just taking a look at the Going Green Mom says, I disagree. I have 2 kids. I worry more now. Okay. That's also legit. That's legit. But like another thing I was thinking about was, you know how a lot of the axe manufacturers, because of course I have to bring it back to axes because I love them so much, will say, keep your axe inside your jacket because they can get brittle in the cold. And I don't really know if the cold that we get in Montreal most of the time, if it really, looks okay. Sometimes it really gets frigid, but like a lot of these companies are Swedish, right? And in northern Sweden, it gets kind of, Dave style cold. So maybe it's more of an issue up there. But like, do you ever, like, I've never seen an axe crack because of the cold.
Yeah, I would say that's 100% false statement.
Yeah.
I've never ever put my axe. I use Fiskar axes all the time, and I leave one strapped to my snow machine permanently for the entire year as my survival axe. And of course, I always carry one with me. That's my usual camp axe.
Yep.
And I've never ever broken a Fiskar's axe in the cold.
Yeah. I just want to say goodnight to my mom. Everyone say goodnight to Colette.
Good night, Colette.
Yeah, so I wonder, like where that whole thing comes from. Like, apparently it's about the edge or some blah 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 blah. But like when Gransfors says, you might want to put this in your. Now, granted, the bits are way more narrow on those than on the Fiskars, right? Like I've got a Fiskars, I think it's Gerber branded, but it sort of comes. It's got that sort of more like almost a Scandi grind on it.
Right. Yeah.
I think that might be. Anyways, it was just, it's something that I've been meaning to ask someone who lives as far north as you do, because it seems weird to me that you would have to put your tool inside your coat to protect it until you're swinging it into a tree.
Yeah. No, I've never, like I said, I don't even think I've ever chipped or nicked my blade or even rolled the edge on my blade in the cold.
Okay.
Much less break the handle because it's so cold.
And yet, here's
Sounds
Black Dog.
dangerous.
What'd you say, Dennis?
I said that sounds dangerous too. Actually, carrying your axe around inside your coat.
Yeah.
I know, sheath and everything, but
I'm just putting an email address for Colin to send me the PDF of his rope bed. I wish there was a way we could just sort of share it here.
share what, the PDF?
He's got a PDF of a rope bed that he built.
Oh.
Yeah. Because one thing that, like, no matter what when I'm in the winter, what? I was gonna say when I'm in the winter camping. Shut up, Jesse. When I'm like camping and the ground is cold, I like to get myself up off of it. If that's either with many boughs, or pretty much any way, I want to be off the ground, because that's gonna just leach the warmth right out of you, unless you're, I don't know, like how would you even protect yourself if you're not getting yourself off the ground?
There again, if you're up in the air and you don't have an insulating layer underneath you, you're gonna freeze, right?
You're gonna
The
freeze.
wind's gonna suck the cold right out, or the heat right out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. IRC. I'm not exactly sure if I know how to take that statement. Well, that got awkward really fast.
Yeah, I seen that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. God, you guys are fast. It didn't even occur to me to say something like that, and I've got a pretty crappy sense of humor. Black Dog says I stopped cutting at -10. Black Dog, is that -10 degrees freedom or -10 degrees Canadian? I keep thinking that I've got to be clear in these conversations, because we're so cross border here. Well, yeah. So it was weird. By the way, why do you use why have you settled on the Fiskars, Dave?
They're cheap.
They're affordable as hell. Yeah.
I own like 5 of them, and they last. They don't break. And I think that's it. I mean, like a lot of the guys in the bushcraft community, they wear that badge of honor when they have, like a Grensford Brooks or a, Weddling's axe that they paid $200 or $300 for. And I mean, I just think a $79 axe at Canadian Tire has done the job for me. And I trust my life with it. It's my primary axe I carry. So it's just earned my respect over the years.
I can give you another reason too. All Fisker products are guaranteed for life, and they'll if you break a handle on it or something, they'll replace it.
That's a plus too. The only reason why, well, okay. First of all, I like wood and steel. I love wood. I am, now that IRC has made that comment, saying that I love wood is making me feel kind of weird. But like, I found that with the sort of the hollow, what is it, a polymer handle or whatever, I feel that the vibration, it sort of goes right into my hand, so I can't use it as long as my wooden handled axes. But obviously, you guys don't have that problem.
No, I don't have any vibration issues. I mean, like sometimes if I miss the tree completely with the head of the axe, and if I
True stories with Dave from.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's full transparency here. Yeah, I mean, it happens. Missed the tree completely, and I'll just hit the handle of the axe off the tree, and I'll get a nice ring of vibration to my hands then. But for the most part, I mean, as long as I hit my target, I'm usually fine.
Interesting. And the one nice thing about those is they are super easy to sharpen.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, because
know?
they're just so mild.
Yeah, it's like a Chinesium steel. But man, because I use one as my grubbing axe, right? So it's always like you're taking out roots or it's down in the dirt. And man, I have knocked chips out of the bit and blah blah blah. But it's so easy to get a serviceable edge on it. I'm not going to get it shaving sharp, but I don't want I keep saying this, it's ad nauseum. If it's not a carving axe, I don't want it hair popping sharp because I feel that edge will be way too fragile for what I need.
I
When I'm going
totally
into,
agree with you.
And so these Fisker's axes, I mean, there isn't much poetry to them, shall we say, but they're really good for that. You can get a serviceable edge on it with no problems. Get some work done.
And you don't feel bad to use a file rather than a stone.
Yeah, no way. Yeah,
No,
no.
not at all.
File. It's working. Boom. And because they're even more sort of wedge-like than my Wetterlings, they're really good for splitting with, I find.
I don't own either a Gerber or Fiskars. It's the same anyway.
Yeah, it's the same axe.
I used to own at some point two of them, and not at the same time. And they were so prone to nick. I was just chipping them.
Yeah, mine too, but it doesn't matter because of what I'm using it for. It's Colin. I got your plans. They just popped into my because of what I'm using it for.
And I want it.
You want it?
I want that file. I want the PDF. I mean.
Oh, okay. I was saying something and I've it's gone. But
Yeah, sorry.
But I think that there's a real place for axes like that. Like strapped onto a four-wheeler or a skidoo or something. Perfect, right? Because they're so weatherproof.
Yeah, absolutely. I just
Right?
take a little bit of oil and I just set it in the bottom of the sheath.
Yeah.
And I take a couple of O clamps and I literally just ratchet it right to my snow machine on the frame, and it just stays there. And if I need it, I'll just open my toolkit on my snow machine, take off the axe, and I have it. So that's kind of my go-to in a survival situation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't have to worry about because here's the thing. My axe care in spring and fall is extreme because it's always wooden handles into steel heads. So one of these things swells and shrinks with the season and the other doesn't. So, I mean, I have to make sure that I'm oiling and oiling and oiling because, if it's a dry cold, I mean, you guys know all about this, about the way wood operates. Whereas with something like my Gerber Fiskars, who cares? I don't have to oil the crap out of it for a month before the weather drops. It doesn't care, And I think that there's real value to that as well. Though I don't mind the pageantry involved with, I zen out and I get my stuff done. But if there's like one less tool that you have to worry about as the seasons change, then that's a win. In my opinion. In my humble opinion.
Take
care, IRC.
Is IRC out of here? All right. Good night.
Yep.
See you next time, hopefully. Yeah.
I don't like to call it prepping, but yes, I'm getting stuff in my Jeep. I'm getting the traditional beer paws to get me out of there. I get 2 chains. I get a full sleeping bag. Even if I'm living in the city, I'm getting some stuff around, but something that I'm putting in each of my Jeep and in my wife's car is a real. I don't want to state it too much, but a real shovel. a metal one. I don't want the crappy stuff that they're selling everywhere that is collapsible and everything. No, just give me a real shovel.
Right.
I got 2 of them. I put it straight in one in each car, and I'm not bothered at all being stuck or having to dig me out at some point.
Yeah, we do the same. We have 2. I think they're aluminum or something. Because a plastic shovel, once the temperature drops too much, a plastic shovel is no longer adequate, shall we say?
Yeah, I'm just using the regular the hard digging shovel.
Mhm.
Literally nothing square. I want to dig it as efficient as I can.
Right. Fair enough. And I also, for winter, like winter prep for the vehicles, the first aid kit changes up a little bit. There's a lot more in, like, okay, yeah, emergency blanket, but maybe have a wool blanket in the trunk just in case as well.
Yep. Wool blanket, candles.
Candles, and maybe a little bottle of wine.
No, only a candle. You'll be surprised with how much BTUs a single candle
in
will
a car.
give you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it could save your life for sure.
Sure could. Yeah, absolutely. And there are 2 sides to prepping. I'm using the term prepping, but I don't mean as a prepper. I mean, you guys know I'm talking about preparing for, getting set for. Like, there are 2 ways to look at everything, right? One is you change the fun aspect, and the other is not dying in winter and not dying in summer are 2 very different games, right? And the not dying part is the part that is kind of a drag for me. It's less interesting than the fun stuff of, oh yay, I get to use my colder weather sleeping bag, or I'm gonna buy a hot tent. But at the end of the day, you got to think about this stuff.
I got a pair of boots. I got insulated pants, a heavy coat. Even if it's I'm going to be out for a mild temperature, around 0, I don't care. It's gonna go straight with at the time that I'm changing my tires to the winter ones. The kit is going straight in each car.
Right. My
wife's called me crazy because she's driving in the city. I don't care.
Well, I mean, remember that event with that highway that got completely snowed in for days?
Oh, jeez. No, not for days. It was for 16 hours.
16 hours, yeah. Well,
yeah. The Transport Quebec and the Sorties Quebec screwed up so bad on that one.
Yeah, and that was a dangerous situation.
16 hours in the middle of Montreal.
Yeah. Well, the middle.
Well, okay. How'd you call this?
I call it bloody embarrassing for a major North American city is what I call it.
Yeah. And you probably drive through that highway to get to your office, right?
Yeah. Well, the highways are a mess, right? And you throw a whole ton of snow around, and they just get worse. These highways were designed for, the traffic needs of the 60s.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bigger city now, and when you get a snowfall as epic as that, I don't know.
These screwed up anyway.
But what I'm saying is that this is why, even if you don't plan to hit the bush, prepare your vehicle for winter. Have things in there. Yeah. Like, even just have a little chocolate bar. Like, you guys know Les Stroud, right? I got this little chocolate bar for if I need to bring my morale up at some point and it's really going, bad. So he saves it. But that's important in a car too, because you can sit there and start to panic, or you can know, look, I've got a kit of stuff. I got a wool blanket, so I'm not going to freeze to death. Maybe I brought a pack of cards. Maybe I'm going to play like 16 hours of solitaire, but I'm going to come out the other side because I'm in a city surrounded by other people who are in the same spot as me. But if you have nothing to stave off hypothermia sitting in a car surrounded by other people, because here's the thing, the snow was high enough that if you had your engine on, you might gas yourself.
Yep.
Right? So you couldn't have the heat on. So embarrassing for a major city, right? People...
They screwed up so bad.
But we're Quebecois. We snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in all things.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Jeez.
Yeah. We're a province full of people who will be getting there. We're like, we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing. Oh man, we're doing the right thing. We're coming down the home stretch. Left turn. Just constantly. Oh wow.
But on the very last turn, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Just turn wrong right at the last moment.
When was that? Last year?
It was
it
3
last
years
year or
ago, I
before?
believe.
3? Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago. I believe it was 3.
Huh.
Literally, they piled up the Highway 13 from Leshen back to almost to Laval.
Huh.
That freaking highway is right across the city.
Yeah.
It cuts Montreal in two, and I
Yeah.
don't remember if it was only the snow or they had an accident in front. Anyway, it
I don't
was
remember.
piled up for
Miles.
kilometers or
Kilometers
miles.
and kilometers, yeah.
It was crazy. And it was
Mark,
a comedy of errors from that point on. The guy
Yeah.
in charge was signing. He was selling or buying an house at the same time, and the Transport Québec in charge of dealing with the traffic. The guy was brand new and didn't call the fire department to help. So at some point, the fire department goes on their own, trying to get people out because it's a mess. It was a comedy of errors.
it was a cluster funk.
Maybe a bit more than that, but that's
It was
fine.
2 cluster funks in one. Mark says he carried a 1-pound Baker's package of dark chocolate. It was a spinal wilderness injury to evacuate, and only ounce was that 1 pound used in an essential fashion. Made all the difference. I think I understand what he's saying.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing that the difference that something like that can have in a backpack when the shift hits the fan. Man,
That's
I'm doing really
something that
well tonight, trying to get monetized again.
Yeah.
That's something that you carry, and you know it is something that you won't use to survive, but at the same time you're gonna use it to survive.
Yeah.
It's kind of an awkward situation, especially when ounces are pounds when you carry them.
Yeah. Well, I mean that concept plays into a lot of the equipment choices we make, right?
Yep.
Like I look at people who want to have a titanium stove because it shaves ounces or grams off there. When I was really into mountain biking, I interfaced with people who were this way all the time. They were what we call weight weenies. This is the type of guy who would replace all the bolts and screws on his bike, the aluminium bolts and screws or whatever, with titanium to shave off as many grams as possible. And instead of using disc brakes, he would switch to to V brakes because they weigh so much less, and like not going to use tubeless tires because they weigh more, and like a lot of backpackers, like dedicated backpackers are like this as well, right? The smallest, lightest, blah 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 blah. I'm not like that. I'm not a weight wiener, but I do pay for that. Sometimes I've got my backpack on and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I don't need so much food because it's so bloody heavy.
Nothing like cutting back on the obvious, right?
Yeah, just I need the grands first. I need the full bottle of whiskey.
There's something that I've done some winter camping, and there's something that I just cannot get by in winter camping, and it is a cast iron pan.
I love cast iron.
Mhm.
It is so freaking heavy,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna carry it back and forth to hell. It is
If I'm
just
look, if you're car camping, who cares? If I'm solo, maybe I'll bring a tiny. I really want to get like a tin pan, just for the sort of old school charm of it. But there are certain places where I'm willing to deal with the weight, and there are certain places I'm not.
I
Having a good
really,
pan is great, but I don't want to have a really heavy stove.
I really, really admire your fondness and the way that you're looking at historical and the way that people used to do it. But I'm sorry, I'm in 2020 and I'm not gonna do
Yeah,
it
yeah,
this way.
yeah. That's because you're a Philistine, but that's okay.
Probably, and I fully assume it.
But I also wonder. How, like, would if I'm hiking 16K versus if I'm paddling the length of a river versus if I'm snowshoeing 16 or 20K with a poke, how each of these would play into how much I really, really care about the weight, the old school magic versus the, hey, I'm not carrying 800 pounds of gear aspect. Because for instance, if I'm pulling a poke through, knee deep snow, it might be worth it to have stuff that weighs less to offset the weight of the hot tent. In which case, am I bringing a whole bunch of cast iron in that case, or am I going for a tin pan?
I got your point.
It's all theoretical stuff, right? For me
Yeah.
right now.
I got your point. At the same time, I'm not gonna do it knee height walking in snow. Snowshoes exist.
Oh yeah. No. If I'm cruising through the snow, I'm using my snowshoes. There's no way I'm not. Now that I've owned snowshoes for like 15 years and I know what the difference is, I'm never going back to trying to fight through with nothing but my boots on, snow getting in my boots, and I'm swearing in like high registers, shall we say, at the sky. No way.
Do you
No
get
bloody way.
using them though, Jess?
Sorry?
Do you get out using them often?
We do a lot of snowshoeing, yeah. More like, partial day hikes and stuff.
Mhm.
Where my mother-in-law lives in Oka, she's right on the lake, and when it's cold enough out, we just hit the lake and go. Just go. When it's not, there's a mountain here called Bromont, and I guess Bromont. A lot of mountain biking in the summer and spring and fall, but some nice trails, like a little technical for snowshoeing in the winter. So it's a nice way to get out even when the temperature drops. Just pack a thermos of tea and a thermos of hot chocolate for Camille. The year we gave her her snowshoes, she was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something. Maybe 6? No, not even. Maybe 6. Whatever. She got them Christmas, and Christmas morning, or no, Boxing Day, I decided to take her out onto the lake to show her how to use them. So she came out, and I'm standing on the lake, and I clipped my snowshoes on. And by this point, I've got some experience, right? So I'm not having any problems. Like I don't need the poles or anything. And she puts them on. And I say, well, okay, so now you got to keep your feet a little far apart. And so she just starts running. Come back, first of all. So I run off after her. But like, man, it took me more than like 5 minutes to learn how to use those things. I may have or may not have face planted a couple of times my first day in snowshoes. She just like the magic of youth, eh?
To have it back.
Yeah. But yeah, so to answer your question, as often as possible. I love it. I enjoy it. It has completely changed the way I see winter. Because I never loved skiing, for instance. I have a certain fondness for cross-country skiing. I never loved snowboarding because, to go back to our the point about those sleeping bags, I'm claustrophobic. So being clipped in, and I can't, like having both my feet just sort of clipped in like that, it freaked me out. For the same reason why I can't use clipless pedals on a mountain bike. They have to be platforms because I have to be able to take my feet off, or I get really, really creepy feeling. But snowshoes, they're just fabulous. I just love them. I see Mallory is letting me know that she's still here. If you guys ever see someone, Mallory, I don't remember where you got that from, but it's such a great idea. In the side chat, you see Quebec's Homestead with just a dot. She's just letting me know that she's still listening in. No time to comment, but, you know, still hearing what we're saying.
Quick comment, Colin. No, I have not seen your PDF posted regarding your rope bed, but I'll ask Jesse to share it with me. Well, anybody that wants it, actually.
I wish like there was a way we could just host it somewhere and I could just put a link in the show notes later or something.
That was I was thinking a bit earlier, but that's not something that I can do easily on the spot.
Yeah.
I do have the facilities to do it, but I'm just not ready to do it.
Right. Sorry, somebody, rats, where was it? I lost it. Somebody was saying something about, some people here know Bromo, which is nice. I can't find it. Oh, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in this side chat about carrying stuff while canoeing versus backpacking and stuff. Yeah, I lost it, but someone said that winter time they like to switch from the lighter weight pans to cast iron because you can cook over flames. It doesn't have to be like down to embers. And I guess that's because, like, as you guys here definitely know, you know, if you're building a fire to warm yourself up in the winter, it should be big enough that you kind of have to take a step back. You know, if you're trying to just get warm because you're cold, it's got to be a big fire. And I feel that even I like to cook over flames in the winter because there's sort of more active warmth coming off of flames, whereas when it gets down to embers, it's so much better for cooking over, generally speaking. But I feel like I have to hunker closer to get some of that warmth for myself. So that was a good point, but I don't know who said it and I don't know where it is.
Yeah, for me, I'll usually make 2 fires. I'll have my main warming fire and then a small cooking fire to the side.
Okay, and like they'll be sort of next to each other?
Yeah, I mean within, you know, a few feet of each other. I mean maybe like 5, 6, 7 feet, depending upon how big.
Okay.
The primary warming fire is in the wind direction, but I always have my main fire because the risk of allowing your fire to burn down to cook on, your fire could go out quite easily.
Yep.
and then it takes a while to build it back up again. And plus, when you're cooking, you don't want to be face first into a tremendous amount of heat either. So it's
that's a good point. Yeah.
it's obviously nice to have two fires, one for cooking with control, and then if your fire that you're cooking over tends to die down, or if you don't have enough heat, you can always shovel some embers out of your main fire and transfer it over to your small cooking fire.
Yeah, that's also a good point. I just found it was Black Dog who said it. Yeah, that's a good point too. I had never thought of doing two fires, but yeah, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely. I've had a fire go out on me while I was trying to cook before. It's like, please, really? If I'd had like a big warming fire right next to it, it would have been so much easier to get it back up and going. Especially because when a fire kind of goes out and you start building another fire on, you think it's going to be fine because the embers are going to catch everything else. And then it's like an hour later, and you're still.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Simon
good
freeze up on
memories.
us there?
Sorry?
Simon freeze up on us there?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Looks like it. Well, it's 11 o'clock, so he doesn't have time to come back. So thanks to you guys for coming on screen and yipping and yapping with me. It was a very interesting chat. I kind of wish I had another hour to do. Very interesting. And some of you guys said some stuff that I'm going to possibly use to change my own approach. Oh yeah, Simo just disappeared. I probably got a message on my phone from him. All of you in the side chat, this was a really good conversation down there as well. I didn't get to, put most of the comments on the screen, but there was a lot of interesting stuff going on there as well. So thanks to everyone for hanging out. Until next week, stay healthy, stay sane, and stay kind. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.
See you later.